I'm asking epithelium should be included too. I guess I could, I really could ask, my arrow is spanning what structure? All right, and so now we have to say the ciliated pseudostratified columnar epithelium. Right, in this case, my arrow is sitting on the top of what structure? We come around here.
So Sid.
I already got one.
Oh, you did? Next one. Okay, so my arrow is sitting on what structure?
Oh, basement membrane.
Basement membrane. Okay. This is probably the only tissue that we look at where we can see such a clear basement membrane.
Basal lamina and basement membrane, are those interchangeable? No.
They strictly are not interchangeable, although you will see some texts will be inclined to do that, because the basal lamina is the portion of the basement membrane that is secreted by the epithelium. The reticular lamina is the portion secreted by the underlying connective tissue, and the two together are the basement membrane.
So we really can't tell the difference with this kind of mag.
At this mag you can't, so basement membrane. And under just about any light microscope, you cannot tell the two different layers apart from each other. So if you're looking at a light microscope image, basement membrane is correct. I could ask you, this structure is divided into two layers. Name the layers. Okay. And that will be basal lamina and reticular lamina.
I don't know why. I don't care if I get it there. I don't know.
All right. So I could say here, the top of this arrow is pointing to what structure? What structure? Loose connective tissue is a tissue, not a structure. What do you see when we're looking at this? And in this case, just to orient you, this is going to go all the way down here. There's a structure sitting here. What is that structure?
Anyone?
Anyone? Basement membrane. Okay? So, to be able to know that that's the basement membrane, what you need to know then is that this stuff sitting on top of it, from the bottom of the arrow here, all the way to the surface here, and we're going to take this up to higher power, is, name this epithelium.
Stratified squamous.
All right, hold on. Go on.
Stratified squamous non-keratinized.
Right. So stratified, squamous, non-keratinized. All right. How do we know that this is non-keratinized? Next one along.
You see cells all the way to the
Cells to the surface. Great. Dr. Spears obviously did a good job. Great. Excellent. Okay. Now I guess at this magnification it would be fairer to ask you what structure do you see at the top of this pointer, or would you expect to see at the top of this pointer, and that would be your basement membrane. And you can see very nicely this example with those cells going all the way to the surface, which makes it really easy then to compare that to right, I'm picking a different stain, but it should be no. That one's going to just confuse you guys. I won't do that. The idea is not to confuse you or trick you in an exam. The idea is to give you examples that are clear as day, not clear as mud.
On that last slide, if you were asking for the epithelium and not the structure, would you specifically say what epithelium is above?
If I want the epithelium, I'm usually going to ask you what is this epithelium.
Okay,
right?
tissue.
Because if I'm asking for an epithelium, it needs to be some kind of aligning epithelium. If I'm asking for what kind of tissue, that tissue is an epithelium versus connective tissue, for example. Okay. Or if I say be specific on the tissue, it could be a loose connective tissue or a dense connective tissue. Right, and in this one, obviously, we go from here to the surface. There's an arrow spanning this area, and I say name this layer. Keratized, stratified, squamous, epithelium. All right, 4 words there, because I asked for a layer. If I said name this epithelium, 3 words are necessary. Now, stratified cuboidal is something that we'll see. All right, see the 2 layers here? So if I asked you to name this epithelium, and what I would have to do, because the lumen here is not clear, I would have an arrow going from, I would probably dot an outline over here for the lumen, an arrow going from here to here, and said name this epithelium. Here's my next one.
Stratified cuboidal.
Stratified cuboidal is great. If you said a bistratified cuboidal, because cuboidal by nature usually is bistratified, that would be great too. Okay. If I said this epithelium is lining what kind of structure? Where's my next one along?
What's the question again?
This epithelium is lining what kind of structure? A duct?
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. Usually we see these bistratified cuboidal epithelia lining ducts, right? And those are usually ducts from glands of various kinds.
If you said gland, would that be wrong?
It's not the gland, it's the duct, okay? No, because I asked it, what is it lining? All right. If I said this epithelium represents what portion of a gland? Where's my next one across? Parenchyma. Okay. Because your parenchyma of a gland is going to be the duct and the secretory portion. All right. No, I would not. I would not give you a question like that in the exam. But this, in terms of just making sure that you guys understand that here, obviously, when we do the ducts, we'll revisit that. Okay.
How did you word the original question again?
This epithelium represents what tissue or what, I can't remember the word I used, but probably what tissue of a gland. Now, if you said duct, I'd probably say, yeah, fine, because it is a duct, okay, but the tissue is really the parenchyma, right, which is the epithelial tissue.
What other part of the duct is there besides the parenchyma?
Of a gland, there's the duct and the secretory portion, okay, remember the duct is the stuff that is conducting the secretions of the gland up to the surface. All right, it's not actually itself, in this case, secreting the product. Now, in some of our, when we go to those simple glands, the duct is actually part of the gland, okay?